Some years ago, when I was managing a research group at a large corporation, I had an occasion to interview a young man for the job of graphic designer. On our research team, we needed somebody to provide the graphics, the illustrations, the visuals to accompany our research into instructional areas. And the interview went along swimmingly until I got to the magic question, which was, look, suppose we were doing this experiment in how to learn, and you had prepared some visuals for it, and our preliminary tryout work indicated that the visuals needed to be modified somewhat. Would you be willing to modify those visuals to fit the experiment better? And he leaned back and he looked at me and he said, "Sir," so there is a professor at Stanford and one at Harvard who I would be willing to have make comments about my work. So I said, "Next." Look, if you're doing art for art's sake, then do it your way and don't listen to anybody else. But if you're building a module to serve a purpose, then what you need to do is to shape that module to make it do what you want it to do. And that means we've got to make some changes to it. We don't sit down and write a finished product. I know I never have. But you've got a module there ready for revision. I hope you didn't think the module was a failure just because people were making some comments. There are always comments about modules, and there's always ways of making it better. That's why it isn't too important to have a true member of your target population do the first tryout, because there aren't that many people around to waste, and almost anyone can find the big holes that may exist. Now, how did you feel when the comments were made? A little defensive? Did you bristle a little bit? Don't be surprised at that. I think we all do when people pick at our work. The trick is to learn how to deal with it. Here's a ploy that I use. Picture the reviews. You know, picture what could happen if you didn't make the revisions to your module and it didn't work and you still published it, that is, you sent it out there into the world. Imagine what the review might look like. But then, imagine what the reviews would look like if they said what you wanted them to say. And you've got to admit, isn't it better to face the music before the module gets published rather than afterward? But now that you've collected comments, it's time to do something about them. You're finished being a reporter. Now you're looking for opportunities for improvement. Now you're judging which comments you're going to put in. If you're telling yourself that there's nothing wrong with the module, that it's perfect as is, or you need to put it away for a while. Drop it for an hour, two possibly, go do something else, and then come back to it. But if you feel ready now to make the changes, here's what to do. First off, make the easy changes. Do the easy things first. Add the missing directions, clean up the wording of the drawings, make the paragraphs a little easier to understand. Then, put in the substantive changes. Put in the examples you need to add. Take out the pieces of the content that the tester didn't seem to need. And if you find it difficult to remove content, do what I do. Don't throw it away. Take it out of the module, put it in a manila folder, call it something like stuff people didn't have enough sense to appreciate, and put it to one side, telling yourself that you're going to slip it back in. You know, I've literally got manila folders that I've had for 25 years. I've got an old folders home in the basement in a filing cabinet. And every couple of 3 years I paw through it to see what good stuff there is there that I can take out and bring back into the light of day. And I don't remember ever finding anything. But I keep it. I keep it. I just can't bear to throw it away. It was hard work putting it together. So I'm going to hold on to it. Now, when you've made the changes indicated by your first tryout, take it back to another tryout. It'll make you feel good to actually experience the results of the changes that you made. A final word. As your module gets better, it's likely to get a little bit shorter. Now, I realize that in the academic world that we grew up in, weight was important. That is, a 20-page thesis was twice as good as a 10-page thesis, and bulk was rewarded. This is not the case here. We are intruding on people's lives when we're asking them to work through our instruction, maybe to their benefit, but nonetheless, we're intruding on their lives, and we ought to respect that intrusion. We ought to make that intrusion as efficient and smooth and effective and as positive as we can make it. So if you can write a module that will do the job in one page, that means that you're a whole lot better than those of us who require a whole book with which to do the same thing. So go revise your module and then try it out again.